Modbus is a commonly used data communication protocol that is based on a request-response model. It can operate across multiple physical communication types including serial and Ethernet. Serial communications commonly include RS-485, RS-422, and RS-232. Because the Modbus protocol is used to exchange data over a variety of network types, it continues to be widely used in industry for both new and legacy projects. The protocol uses a Modbus master and a Modbus slave. A Modbus master will request data from a slave device. When using Modbus TCP, a Modbus master is known as a client, and a Modbus slave is known as a server. In a real application, a pressure or temperature transmitter shall typically be a Modbus slave or server. This contains useful data we want to access. A Modbus master may typically be a PLC or computer which needs to read data from remote devices or equipment. A Modbus slave will only communicate in response to a message from the Modbus master. When setting up a serial Modbus RTU link, ensure the COM port settings on the master and slaves use matched settings. Baud rate, data bits, parity bits, and stop bits must be known and the same settings used across the serial network. A message timeout value must allow enough headroom for a typical message turnaround time plus sufficient grace time to prevent nuisance timeout errors occurring. A value to the order of several hundred milliseconds is usually acceptable. The time delay between polls shall be long enough to prevent overwhelming the line transceivers or communications devices, and prevent saturating the bus with traffic. A value typically between 1 and 100 milliseconds is usually acceptable. When setting up an Ethernet Modbus link, additionally the IP addresses and TCP port numbers must be known. When connecting to a communications network, pay close attention to the wiring terminations. An RS-485 two-wire example is shown, showing the data minus or A line, and the data plus or B line. Ensure the A lines are connected between devices and the B lines are connected between devices. Do not cross them. Some Modbus RTU debugging tips and tricks are noted here, including checking wiring, termination resistors, biasing resistors, communication settings, and Modbus data settings. Some Modbus TCP debugging tips and tricks are noted here, including checking wiring, IP address, TCP port number, communication settings, and Modbus data settings.